Cool. So, all right, well, let's get to it. Let's get to our 10 o'clock guest. He's waiting patiently. Let's welcome the one and the only Mr. Rex Tripp Eisen. What's going on there, Tripp?
Yo, man. Good to hear you.
Good to hear you, man. And I got to tell you, like, straight up too. First I want to thank you for doing this. I mean, you reached out the other day, and I was kind of shocked that you did, that you wanted to do this. And we've been talking the past week, and we both kind of figured like this is a smart thing to do for you. So we're here to do this. And...
Yeah, it's been a while, and kind of like breaking the silence, playing a show a couple of months ago, and I have a new band, and just figured I'd break the silence and kind of talk and get out there, and I agreed to play this Roughhouse show back in October, and it was a lot of fun. So, little by little, I'll be getting back into things, especially with my new band and different things. So, excited.
Cool. Absolutely. So, all right, well, let's go back in time, and let's talk early Rex, early Tripp days, and because there's, I am a longtime fan, back, from my teenage days of the old days back at Teeze, and seeing you guys all the time at the Empire on those all age Sunday shows.
Yeah, I was surprised to hear that you were around back then. It was kind of cool that you were one of the fans in the crowd back then. It's cool to share that experience.
And I've told this to Dave, and I've told this to Greg too, as I've talked to them guys over the years. Like the first time I saw them guys, back when the Stover brothers were in the band, I mean, I told them this in a funny way. Like they fucked my life up because they just changed my whole perception of everything. Like that was all I knew. Like I was instantly hooked from the moment I saw Teeze. I was just like, holy shit, this is the greatest band ever. And that's all I knew for the next so many years. And then when usually, when a band changes members, you want to hate the new guys. You do.
Right.
So when you and Mike came in the band after the Stovers left, I at first I wanted to hate you guys, but from the moment I saw you guys, I was like, oh shit, game is on. This is no going backwards. This is just picking up and going forward. So it was just good stuff.
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, I'm in the same boat as you because I was a huge fan. I was a kid going to the shows, watching that version of Teeze, that first album, and they re-released it in color. And those songs were magical. I saw them play a show, go from cover band to original band. So I saw them playing covers.
Okay.
And then seeing them switch to originals, and I saw their original show, complete show of all original songs at some Coors Light special event or something in Allentown, PA, and it was just wild. It was the mystique, seeing them before the show, kind of in the regular clothes, and they made the transformation into the rags and the makeup and everything, and it was magical, So I always loved those guys. So I sent them a message, a fan letter sort of thing, saying if you ever need a guitar player, I'd be honored if anything ever happened. I was hoping nothing would happen, but I wanted to be in the mix, so I sent them a letter saying if you ever need a guitar player, please keep me in mind. So, and something happened.
Now, is that did they save that and reach out to you, or did you? Because I know there was the story that you had sent them a picture or something with holding a knife to your neck, if I'm not the next guitar player, I'm going to kill myself or something.
Yeah, then I heard through the grapevine the Stovers had left, and then I sent them another package, and I dressed up in the rags. I took tons of pictures of me dressed up with their image, and then I did a demo. My brother played drums, and I did a demo of me playing a bunch of Teeze songs. So I sent them this package of me dressed up, full color, and playing the songs, and then with the picture of me with the blood. I had a broken blood vessel in my nose, so I would actually spit real blood. I had blood all over my chest. It was real blood that I'd get bloody noses all the time, and then just suck it out.
So now, how about like going at like here you are being like myself, the kid in the crowd watching this band and looking up to these guys, and then next thing you know, you actually you're on stage with them and you're making music with them.
Yeah, it was intimidating because I idolized them. Dave, in particular, Brian and Greg, and I had a lot of respect for Louie, Kevin Stover. I love those guys. I would go. I took tons of pictures. Someday I'm going to release all the pictures I took as a fan of all those early Teeze shows. I took pictures. I was right in the front, and I want to eventually show those off someday because it's just a magical time. It was a magical time. So being with those guys, I mean, they showed me the ropes, you know, how to spin your guitar, how to do this and that, and the on-stage antics because I wanted to step it up. There was so much to live up to, and I'm just there awkward at first, and little by like a few months into playing better, more comfortable. They changed their image, too. They got away from the rags. They want more like, you know, twisted glam, still kind of shock rock kind of glam. Right. And we recorded demos, shopped a record deal like by up in New York City, shopped a record deal, played in front of Champion Management, you know, and different producers, Eddie Kramer, Max Norman. Finally picked Max Norman as the producer. So yeah, it was a magical time. I mean, those guys showed me the ropes, and a lot of the things that I do, a lot of my influences that I brought to other bands, Dope, Murderdolls, Static X, were things I learned and cut my teeth on from those Teeze days, you know. So I give those guys such credit, like, for helping me, you know, mold and form who I am, you know.
You know, sure. It's funny, too, because I always thought that, like, you know, years later when you were with Dope, and I remember seeing you guys at the TLA, I just remember watching you guys and saying to myself, like, I am looking at a Teeze/Roughhouse of the modern, you know, of the new millennium. You know what I mean? Like, you could just see the influence all over you guys on stage. And I was just like, this is amazing. This is like, you know, and I just was like, I wish going back in time, like, Teeze was still together at that time.
Yeah, it was something I brought. I mean, and I feel like there was a certain magical thing that was infused in me that I hopefully, you know, did justice for. But like those days, I mean, bringing that out, I mean, it's just hard to describe. But it's a theme. I feel like a theme went on with me throughout my life, with, you know, throughout my musical professional career, from Roughhouse, Teeze and Roughhouse, and then through those lean years in the 90s to when I joined Dope, it was like there's, you know, you can see pictures of me wearing Man-O-War and Overkill shirts back then, and I'm wearing Man-O-War and Overkill shirts later. It's like, and I had a guy who was a DJ. I wish I could remember the guy's name. He was a DJ out at the Roxy Theater on the Sunset Strip in Hollywood. And he came up to me. He's like, dude, I'm from Philly. I used to see you back then with the same shirts, playing in Teeze back at the Empire. I can't remember the guy's name. He was a DJ, and he was from Philly, and he was bald. And he would like DJ on different nights, back and forth, alternating with Tammy Down. Tammy Down would DJ one night, and he would do it the next. I wish I could remember the guy's name and give a shout out. But he would just like, dude, I remember you back then. It was cool, you know. Somebody from like yourself back in the day.
Now how about that? Like with the Roughhouse, like when you just said the lean years, like when the scene started coming crashing down slowly. You actually left the band. Like, was that like a hard decision for you to do?
Yeah, it's weird. Looking back, I regret that because the band was playing to appreciative fans. You know, even like when the Stovers left, it's like, I felt sad that they left. You know, I mean, an opportunity, but it's like they were kicking ass. Like, why can't you just work it out? I mean, people have differences. Just work it out. There's a magical thing, and how many bands break up over that. And then I go and do the same stupid thing, like, I don't like the direction. I was, like, not happy with the music. I was, you know, it was those years of, I don't know, it was just awkward. The music was getting awkward, you know. Music was getting awkward, you know. So I regret it, but, you know, you have to do something. You got to change something. Now I would have stayed in Roughhouse and did another side project. Why not be in a couple bands at the same time? But back then it was like kind of weird to be in several bands.
Right. Now, how about the album? Were you happy with the finished product that was put out?
Well, yeah, the Roughhouse album. Yeah, I wasn't real. I mean, it didn't have enough edge to it. We were hoping that Max Norman producing, he did a lot of good albums that had a kind of an edge to them. Armored Saint, Dirty Looks.
Didn't he?
You know, those were great. I mean, those had some powerful, powerful production. So we were hoping for that. And I don't know if it was just trying to make us more pop sounding or something. I don't know what the motive was, or just maybe the money wasn't there. I don't know. The money wasn't there to produce it enough to go back in and remix it or something. But we really weren't happy with the finished product. But so who knows? Maybe we'll re-record it someday. That would be kick-ass.
Now, actually, I guess through the 90s, you and Dave Weekly remained pretty close because you guys worked on a couple different projects together, trying to put something together, didn't you?
Yeah. The Right. There was a band called The Right that we were in, and that was the drummer from Dope, Preston Nash, me and Dave, and a couple other guys, Lee and Rob, and it was a cool project. It was just kind of still glam, theatrical, a little more heavy. And then we were in another band, Ego. Ego was a little bit more industrial. We were, kind of in the vein going towards that 9 Inch Nails, Dope, Static X. It was kind of like evolving. I was into that style, so Ego was more of that kind of thing. And Dave was in it for most of the life of that band, Ego. So, yeah, Ego was a lot of fun with Dave.
Cool.
Of course, Dave was singing. Dave was kind of the front man of Ego. Where in The Right, he was just the bass player, but in Ego, he was kind of the bassist front man.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, it was kind of neat. We all kind of sang. It was kind of like the Beatles type of thing. It was like every guy sang some lead, so it was kind of interesting. But we didn't have a per se front man at first. So yeah, that was a lot of fun. So yeah, I always respected Dave and loved his style, and so we worked together in all those different projects.
That's awesome.
And I was in a lot of different projects with Preston Nash too through the '90s. We were in 4 or 5 different bands together.
Wow.
So he and I were a real team. And I was playing bass in a lot of those bands back then. I put me and Preston Nash.
Wow.
A lot of
I didn't know that.
Yep, and it evolved. Then we got into the band Dope, and that was, us coming together, and we got to tour together, which was a lot of fun. So.
Now, how about with Dope? Like with Dope, when you I guess, is that when you made the name with the change to Tripp?
Yeah, in Dope, Edsel's vision, he kind of wanted to, have it. He had this vision, image, and everything else. So it was kind of like, let's come up with names. He thought that we could evolve and be new, be made new, sort of thing. So the name Tripp, came in, and everybody had different names. So I kind of wanted some continuity, so I used the last name Eisen. So he wasn't real down with that, but I kind of said, come on, I want some continuity with my career. So I was like, all right, people have different names. Guys in Marilyn Manson have several names, right?
Now, so I guess you didn't look at it at the time where a lot of the people from back in the hairband days were quote unquote taboo. Did that scare you at all? People might know you from Teeze and Roughhouse and put 2 and 2 together, or?
Yeah, it was a thing that we kind of tried to keep quiet, those days. But with the internet, things just leak and leak. And there was enough. There's a guy, the band Law and Order, that evolved into Uranium-235. Are you familiar with those 2 bands?
No.
Uranium-235 was kind of a 9 Inch Nails, Marilyn Manson type of band, and the lead singer was in a band, Law and Order, which is more in the vein of Roughhouse. So he made that transition. You got Amir from Rough Cut into Orgy. So some guys have made the transition, and it's kind of cool,
Right.
From
not many have made it though. You know what I mean? Like yourself, Amir, like there's probably like maybe a handful that made that cross over to the other side with the new era of music.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of an interesting thing, to go from one era to the next. You feel like a vampire kind of.
Now, from Dope, that led into the Murderdolls, which I just fucking love the Murderdolls, and like, how did that band not become huge is beyond me.
Well, yeah, I mean, it was kind of a campy niche type of thing. The closest thing is like the Misfits. It's kind of like it's got a vibe to it. But I thought Murderdolls had, the songwriting and the lyrics too. It was more than just horror and stuff. It had some cool punkish things going on. Originally, it was a punk project called the Rejects. That's what the original concept was. The Rejects were a band from Iowa that side project of Slipknot, different members of I don't want to get the history wrong here, because different members of Slipknot were in the Rejects, like Corey and Paul, I believe. So they were actually in the Rejects. So when I was starting to work with Joey, Corey was like, "Hey, I used to be in that band too," It's like, so wow. It was a punk, glammy punk side project, and Joey wanted to resurrect it. So I was out playing with Dope on tour with Slipknot. Joey just took a liking to me. He was like always watching from the side of the stage, and he goes, "Dude, come up to me." He's like, I want to do a side project with you. I got this band, the Rejects, and he just was down with what I was into. We both loved like Motley Crue, Slayer, glam, the thrash, and everything else, the punk, and we just hit it off like that. And he asked me to join the band. I started to work with the singer Dizzy. Got to know his singer at the time, original singer, and it just did a few shows, and it evolved into the Murderdolls, with Wednesday coming in as the bass player, and then eventually moving up to vocals, and the project just evolved. I brought in Eric Griffin and Ben Graves, some guys I got to know out in the LA scene, and so it just kind of evolved into this different type of thing, a little bit more polished, a little bit more, metal and glammy than the punk edge to it. But it's still punk. I mean, yeah, Murderdolls is still punk,
Yeah.
Still got that though. It's just a little bit less. But yeah, that was a great band. I mean, I wanted to bring the spirit of Teeze into that. Had I been able to stick it out through the life of that band, I was going to bring in like that kind of boot camp, like, Maniacs of Rock mentality, which it kind of evolved into that anyway,
Right.
But I wish I could have stayed in it.
Were you getting like a lot of flack from Edsel about that? Like, I remember hearing, like, wasn't he like upset with the whole Murderdolls thing or something?
Well, no, I mean, it was maybe a conflict of interest at first. There was a conflict of interest because of the scheduling, and I was like flying out to Iowa to do the show, and Dope was recording a new album. So I was kind of balancing it. I thought it maybe, if I was in that band, it could help Dope. But
right.
there's some clashes, personality clashes at the time, and just kind of blew up. So, just unfortunate that happened. And then when Murderdolls eventually took life a couple years later, there was a conflict with Static X recording schedule. So,
right.
But I had to, I wanted to write music, so I stuck it out with the Shadow Zone writing and recording sessions, and Murderdolls had to take off, and AC, stepped up and replaced me in that band.
Right.
So, kind of all good. It's just kind of a family of musicians,
yeah.
From the New York scene, Interesting.
Now, did you ever hear the second Murderdolls album that Wednesday and Joey did?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, it's a little different. A little more modern for the time, 2010, but I thought it was cool. It was like, it's still kind of the, glam, theatrical, evil monster type of thing going on, but the music was a little bit more, less campy, less comedic maybe.
Yeah.
I miss that. I mean, I wish they would have stuck to that. I thought it was more of a novelty, cool thing, but it's a great album. The songwriting is great on that. You know,
I wish he, which I don't know why he did, but I wish he would have kept like Eric and Ben in the band and AC. Like I don't know why they got away from that. I think that kind of like hurt them as well.
I don't know. I don't know why. I mean, bands make different decisions for different reasons. Chemistry's going on, and I know that the Murderdolls touring and that first album, that it was kind of mayhem and partying and craziness. And I don't know if that had anything to do with it or whatever, but bands make different decisions for the chemistry. You know, even like
Sure.
reunited bands. You hear a lot of bands reuniting, and they're more loyal to the new members than the classic members, and because different relationships develop, I guess. You know?
Like Guns N' Roses. Look at that.
Yeah. So it's whatever works. I mean, I have a affinity when a band can stick the original members back together. It's kind of it definitely has a powerful thing. Like Stryper, I think they're all original members, right?
Yeah.
Stryper. Well, there's another band I can't think. I was just talking about this to somebody. U2 is like the only other band with all original members.
Right.
U2.
Great.
But if Kiss can do it again, hey, that'd be great.
Exactly. Look, they sucked it up and did it again. They're not going to do it a third time, but they did it a second time.
Yeah, I mean, could they do it again? I always hear these rumors, but I don't know. The internet makes things so big. There's so much going on that people forget what's going on with everybody. Like I run into people that are like, "Hey, what's going on with Static X? You guys, are they still together?"
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, some people are so out of touch. I mean, there's people that are rock fans and metal fans, but they just lost touch with this band or that band because there's 8 million bands out there now.
Right.
It's hard to keep track of every band.
There really is. Like my one co-host, Nick, who's on the line with us, his wife does music reviews for our website. And my email box, I mean, I probably get like a half dozen to a dozen some days, like of albums from bands. And probably, say if I get 10 a day, probably 9 out of those 10 bands I never heard of before. I mean, it's just like every day there's just new bands, constant, every day coming out.
Yeah, it's and all the old bands, and there's so many demos and stuff. You know, I used to collect demos from different bands, and there's a lot of unsigned bands that I was a big fan of, and it's hard to keep track of everything. But there's a lot of good bands out there, a lot of bands that never made it that were awesome.
Sure.
Yeah, one band I was a huge fan of was Virus from Dope. He had a band called One back before he was in Dope. That band I love that band. I would go see him play all the time. And they got a great album that just never got out there. It's awesome.
It's weird. It's crazy when some things work like that.
There's another band I used to love, Russ, Satchel from Steel Panther.
Okay.
He had a original band called the Thornbirds. I used to go see them out in L.A. all the time. They're an all original band. He was the front man, and it was just good original music. But that went by the wayside when Steel Panther took off, So,
right.
But yeah, a lot of good bands. You get a lot of good albums. I still listen to some of that stuff.
So,
yes,
you make the jump then from Murderdolls over to Static X.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what was like the big reasoning there? Like,
well, no, Murderdolls was a kind of a thing that was going on underneath everything, so it wasn't a jump. Murderdolls was going on towards the end of Dope into Static X, so it was just a side project that was going on all at the same time from 2000 to 2002. But Static X, I first met them on tour with Dope in '99, and did like 4 tours with these guys. Dope, Static X did 4 tours together.
Wow.
So we got to know each other really well. There was a Dope, Static X Fear Factory, then it was just Dope, Static X, then it was Dope, Static X, and Seven Dust, then it was Dope, Static X, and Power Man 5000. So that was like 4 tours And in between that, there was like the Cold Chamber Slipknot tour we did. But yeah, those tours were just one after the other. So all of a sudden there's Static X all the time. So I got to know Wayne and all the guys in the band really well, and the band's got along really good. So that's how I got to know Static X. At the end of one tour, I think it was Tucson, Arizona. Once in a while, you go up and do a song with the band, and those guys, they come up on stage and do Push It. Wayne gave me his guitar, and I went on stage. I did Push It with those guys, the original lineup, and that was a lot of fun. So they got to know me. So when Koichi left, they knew who I was, and I had Wayne's number, so I gave him a call, and it just kind of happened really nicely and neatly.
So you didn't have to send no pictures of yourself with a knife to your neck to Wayne then?
Right. Yeah, I sent a picture of me ready to jump off the Empire State Building or something. But yeah, no, it just kind of worked out. It was a nice thing. I flew out there. I auditioned. I played for the guys, and they thought about it and called me up. And by December of 2000, I was in the band. It's crazy. I met them the year before, and I was in the band the next year. Everything happened so fast,
Now that was like going to a whole another level too. I mean, because they had a bit of success going on for them, and so that was like you going now up the ladder of music. So how was that for you personally?
Yeah, it was insane. I mean, it was like going from touring, opening up and then doing some headline shows to like Static X was like, we were playing arena tours, 2 tour buses. Yeah, it was a really amazing experience, having like being catered to and everything else. It was amazing. But most of all, I mean, playing with Wayne and Ken and Tony, it was just those guys were everything was so chill and so relaxed, and it was just great. Getting to know those guys. I already knew them already, but getting to know them and living with them on a tour bus and hanging out, we all had so much in common. Everybody in the band loved Kiss. Everybody in the band was a Star Trek fan. Me and Wayne also loved Rush. We listened to the band Rush all the time. We just loved Rush. It was Rush, Kiss, Star Trek, and we had so many different things in common that, and it was really low key. Nobody, there wasn't a lot of partying going on. Ken was pretty straight laced, and Wayne maybe drank a little wine. He was pretty chill back then, so it was a really nice environment.
Wow.
Really cool.
Very cool. Well, you know what? Let's play some Static X. Let's play Destroy All from Static X, and then we'll come back and we'll talk some more stuff. And we have more music to play too. So here we go. Let's go back in time. Static X, Destroy All. Static X. Now, when you hear them old tunes, what do you think?
They still sound new to me. I'm like in a time warp, man. It's like a time warp. 10 years has gone by. I'm like, 10 years.
Yeah.
Or more.
Scary.
Who's counting?
Now something too that like through the whole Static X thing, I remember like I would see people like ripping on you because they felt you had weakened the band. Yeah.
You mean as far as like the style change?
Yeah, the direction of music.
I mean, the style change. Even like every Static X album, something changed like from one album to the other.
Right.
We used to have a joke about the lineup. Every album had a lineup change. And but I mean, the album Shadow Zone kind of evolved on its own, and it's just kind of like, Wayne wanted to sing a little bit more, so had nothing to do with me and wanted to go more melodic. He wanted to do that. The songs I wrote on that album were the more heavy songs. He wrote the more commercial, like So and the melodies. But it was a collaboration. Everybody was, hey, let's experiment a little bit. Let's do something melodic. But there's still heavy stuff. It's not like the whole album is super melodic. It's
right.
Then the next album, that we did like a B-sides album, and then the next album was Start a War. That's the album where I left the band, but I worked on the album, and the opening track is music that I wrote, and some people thought like, oh, Static X kind of getting their old sound back, but that was, you know, my writing, because I was into that style. You know, I was writing some of the stuff I wrote back before I was in Dope even. I could listen to some of my old demos, and some of it's very Static X-ish. Some of the music I was writing back in the late 90s. So, I mean, I had this style in my heart. So it was, you know, it just came natural. I wrote that style, and they dug my music. I mean, the first song we wrote together was The Only, which is kind of a divergence. That song is a divergence from Static X. But they liked it, and they just wanted to roll with it, so we did it. So that was, you know, what can you do? Like,
Now, how about I mean, the tragic passing of Wayne a couple years ago? Had you talked to Wayne any more over the years, or?
Well, my exit of the band, you know, my exit from the band was like tragic, and that caused a lot of rift between me and Wayne. At first, he was supportive of me. You know, when I got arrested, he was supportive at first. And it got to be too much. The pressures all came down, and I don't blame him for anything. But it was a difficult time, you know, very difficult time. And I feel bad for any injury I caused to the band, you know.
Right.
Definitely, you know, tough. But I respect Wayne a lot, and how he dealt with everything. I feel like he did the best he could. You know, it gets ugly, you know, because of what happened to me. Things, you know, can't help. You know, it was a tough situation. But, you know, it was a difficult time in my life, and but I learned from it, and, you know, I feel I've grown. And it's, you know, horrible judgments. You know, what happened to me, it was like a really bad judgment side. It was terrible mistakes that I made, and I paid a price for them. So, you know, I felt like when I exited the band, they had to go on, and I was happy to see them go on and recover from that, and do some really good albums after that. But,
now, with the arrests and all that stuff, so it happened. I guess there was two different girls. Like there was one in California and one here over in Jersey.
Yeah, there were two cases. I had to deal with both things, and, you know, I got through it. Yeah, there was two cases, and, you know, people it's been out there, you know.
Right.
It's been so long ago, you know, that's why it's kind of hard to talk about it, but I'm here, I'm alive, I'm well, I survived it, and the fact that, you know, it just, dealing with it was difficult, but I've grown. You know, it's been 10 years. I've written a lot of music in the interim. I've grown a lot since then. I reconnected with a lot of former friends, partners in the industry, you know, different people I worked with. I've been rebuilding, you know, some of my relationships with people, and it's been a blessing. You know, I feel grateful for all these all the people that stuck by me, and people, you know, sometimes it's hard to, you know, mend relationships, and especially with a lot of the press that I got, very hurtful and stuff. But, you know, I understand it. You know, I understand where people come from. So, but reconnecting with people. I mean, I was just hanging out with Tony the other night. Tony Campos is playing with Cavalier Conspiracy, so I was out hanging out with him the other night in New York City. It was great to see him. They did a sold-out show at the Gramercy Theater. So I go out and, you know, I hang out, I see people, and I've been getting a lot of, you know, positive reactions. Sometimes it's awkward, but most of the time it's like, it's really nice to see people, you know. It's really nice to see people again. And
now, I was going to say that, like, has anybody like steered away from you when they saw you, like, here he comes, or have you had situations that it's just like kind of too much to handle at times with people?
No, I haven't had much negativity. I mean, some people, like, obviously I'm self-conscious. You wonder what people were thinking, but for the most part, I mean, sometimes I go back to when I was touring and I was in the band, I felt awkward back then sometimes. I've always felt awkward in situations with, fame and how you deal with people. And, I mean, we're a lot of times, Static X, we're pretty big, pretty big band. But there's always a band bigger. There's always 6, 7 other bands you're on tour with that are bigger that you show deference to them and respect. And, it humbles you, touring with Korn and Linkin Park and all these bands that are way bigger, and you show the respect that they deserve, and it makes you humble because you can't get too full of yourself. So I've always felt awkward. So I'm out now going to see bands. I still have a lot of friends in the industry, so I get into shows. I'm hanging out backstage, and here I am. Hey, it's Tripp, and people are pretty cool to me. I really haven't had anything awkward. And even when there is something awkward, I'm like, wait a minute. Sometimes I've been in situations when I was out on tour, and then I go see bands, and I felt awkward walking around backstage, even before all this happened. So I kind of try to, give people the benefit of the doubt, or they, just, am I reading too much into things? So I really haven't had, I can't think of any negative experience as far as seeing people face to face, unless they're just being nice to me, whatever. But people have been pretty cool, People have been pretty cool. And I'm grateful grateful for that. It's been a while. So.
How like when the stuff when the shit hit the fan, literally, like I'm a person, I know myself, like when I make a mistake, like I instantly just like say to myself, oh my god, I fucked up. Oh my god, I fucked up. What the fuck did I do? Oh fuck, why did I do this? Did you kind of have like a whole situation? Like you probably felt like your world was crumbling around you.
Yeah, I felt like I lost everything. A lot of people have an earth-shaking or life-changing event in their life. And if you lose everything, you can survive it. You can bounce back. You can grow. And I'm not going to even say I lost everything, because there's people that stuck by me. My family was very supportive, and there's people that stuck by me. There's friends that came out of the woodwork, people that I was just acquainted with. All of a sudden, they're sending me letters, very supportive, and other times some people shied away, and then when I, got out, mended those friendships or reestablished those friendships. It's awkward, but yeah, I think that you can bounce back. It's something that you can be inspirational, and I was inspired by a lot of people that have overcome even greater odds than I have. It's like I'm here, I'm alive, I have music to play. My art is important to me. I've written songs that never given up hope.
Right.
If I never was successful in music again, I have to be okay with that. But I feel like I got something to say. I got music I'm writing. I'm collaborating with people and writing lyrics, writing music. So, yeah, I jumped off. It was like jumping off a cliff, and you can't turn back. You lose something. Like I sit there and I calculate all the things I wish I could have done. I wish I could have done the Start a War tour and finished up. I love those songs on that album, and it's terrible. Just the fact that Wayne is gone and I don't have an opportunity to see him and ever collaborate with him again, because that was like the best time of my life.
Right.
Him, he was a pleasure to work with. He was like a songwriting partner from heaven. It was just awesome. And the fact that he's gone off this earth, that I've been through the ringer, and I'm here alive, and I want to still play music and give the world some part of me that I still have. The fact that he's not here, all the wonderful things he's done and written, and all the amazing music he's written, it's sad. It really devastated me when I heard that he passed. It devastated me, especially the way he went. It's sad. We lose too many people to drugs. I've always been a proponent: no drugs, no alcohol, no tobacco. I've always been kind of straight edge. And I was shocked to hear Wayne even went down that path, because that wasn't the Wayne that I knew,
Right.
So it was very sad. But yeah, so we both, everybody makes mistakes, and it's a matter of how you overcome them and how it humbles you and how you grow from them and how you change your life and you make sure never to make those mistakes again. And unfortunately, Wayne doesn't have that opportunity and he deserves that because he was such a good person. Everyone that knows him and knew him, you know, through the industry or fans, know what a great guy he was. You know, it's sick.
Do you feel like to yourself, like, all right, yeah, you know, there was mistakes I made, I fucked up, and now is my second chance, like, to make things right, and you know what I mean? Like, I mean, for 10 years now, you've been working on making things right.
Yeah. I kind of didn't push myself right away. I just played music. I wrote songs, and I said in the due time I'll meet musicians to play with and get back out there. So I feel like, abiding my time, and at the right time it'll happen. I'm not going to be desperate or anything like that. It's when it's right, it's just going to come about, the right projects or whatever. And in the meantime, like through the years, especially the last 4 years, I've had opportunities. I've had some auditions, and I've been, just waiting for the right project, the right, circumstances to come through. But I've had some opportunities, and I've been working on things, and people that I, worked with and, collaborated with. I'm not going to name names right now, but
right.
I have done some things, and right now the Roughhouse opportunity came up. Those guys, offered it to me. It was a nice sounding benefit, the Sad Fest that we did for depression suicide awareness, and it seemed like a really positive thing that I wanted to be involved with, and I love those guys, and it just kind of worked out. So it was good vibes playing with those guys again. Unfortunately, Greg didn't agree to do that show. It would have been great, but yeah, it was great to play with those guys again, being on stage, again, and I can't wait to do the next show, which leads us up to March 11th. That's the next Roughhouse show.
I was going to say, it was pretty wild, though. Like, when I ran into you, I guess it was last summer at the comic book show in Jersey, Tom's River, New Jersey.
Yep.
And it was like you were going through stuff, and I'm just looking at him like, and I just blurted it out, I'm like, Rex, and you just, I could see like almost a look of panic on your face, and I was feeling the look of panic myself, and I'm just like, oh fuck. And you were like, yeah. But then you were telling me all about the Teeze Roughhouse thing and all, and you were super, super jazzed up about that whole situation.
Yeah, I was actually down there on band business, believe it or not. I was in Tom's River to meet a singer for my band. So I was there. I was down in Tom's River, and I just, wow, there's a comic convention that day. We'll call it a comic show because it wasn't that big. But yeah, it was. But I like the little comic shows, like at the Elks Lodge or wherever that was. Like that's where you get the good deals, and there's a lot of rare comics and a lot of cool things going on.
Good stuff.
So,
little shows.
Yeah, so coming up, we got March 11th at Harrah's Casino in Chester. It's the Philly Harrah's, Chester, PA. And the club's called The Block, I believe, right?
Yes, it's The Block, which actually, and I'll say this, the Block is probably the best place in Philly to play right now. I mean, it's got the best, I think, stage, everything. It's probably the best rock club or any. I mean, they have all types of different bands play there, but I think it's definitely the most professional and best place to play for a band.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I hear a lot about it. Dave's played a show there with his other band, so yeah, we're looking forward to it. It's the first Roughhouse headlining show, so it's our first, playing a 90-minute set or whatever. We're going to be playing songs pretty much almost the whole Teeze and the whole Roughhouse album, practically almost the whole album. So a lot of songs to play, a couple unreleased things we might play, so a couple surprises.
Interesting.
It should be a lot of fun. Playing
Absolutely.
songs we haven't played in years. Love Is Pain, some of the rare tracks.
I'll tell you what, too, like with the whole situation with those guys, I mean, it's got to make you feel good yourself, because I know it was before you guys ended up playing, so I forget. But I saw Dave at a show. His other band was playing with LA Guns in Delaware, and we were hanging out and talking afterwards about all everything that had happened and you guys getting back together and all. And he told me, he said, look, he said, this was actually, they hadn't even talked to you about it. He said, me and the guys, the four of us, we sat down and we've talked, and we decided, like, we're behind Rex. We're sticking by him. We're standing behind him. And, he's a brother, and, he's got nothing to worry about with us. And they're like, we're going to sit down at a band meeting tomorrow night and tell him. I was like, wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. They've been very supportive. And like I said, like, I've gotten mostly positive anywhere I go. I mean, I don't shy away. I've been going out. I mean, seriously, I've been going out seeing bands like for the last 10 years going out. I mean, early on I was going out, hanging out backstage, and I haven't gotten, very much, I haven't gotten any negativity. It's been very positive. Good to see you. It's like, I mean, to me, it's like you come through the fire and you come out the other side and you survive. You survive things and you can, yes, this is America. You believe in second chances, third chances. You can fall down and get up again. So that's what I want to do. Speaking of which, I got my new band. I've been working on for the last year. It's called Face Without Fear. Concept is from Ayn Rand's Atlas Shrugged, Face Without Fear. It's from one of the chapters. John Galt was the Face Without Fear. And it kind of inspired me, to not have fear, to be unafraid, to keep moving on with things. And it's kind of the heroic, image of John Galt. He is the face without fear. Like when you see that, like Captain America,
Right.
You gotta say he's a face without fear, Captain
now,
America.
what style of music is this going to sound like?
Yeah, I mean, it's in the vein of everything I've written, like the 2 or 3 albums, Start a War or Shadow Zone, it's Static X-ish, maybe a little bit of other bands I've been involved with, but it's definitely in that realm of pounding, industrial, metal, and, grooves like that. So it's not going to be like, some divergence. It's definitely in that ballpark.
Cool.
So, but yeah, I'm working with a great bass player, great drummer. The drummer's actually from Tom's River.
Oh, okay.
And I got a bass player from Pennsylvania, and just a good vibe. We rehearse in New Jersey. Right now, currently, we're still auditioning vocalists. So, if anyone's interested, we're still seeking vocalists. So,
the offer is out there. Vocalist.
Yes, vocalist. We're still auditioning vocalists. We're actually auditioning someone tomorrow, but we're looking for a vocalist to come in. Preferably with some guitar abilities. Cool, because I'm the only guitar player right now in the band, and we got a sample programming guy, keyboardist. So it's that kind of thing, So yeah, if anyone's interested, contact Bay here, or whatever, and he'll put you through to.
I'm the middleman for the time being.
Yeah. So yeah, you'll put anybody in touch with our management, and it'd be cool. But yeah, I'm excited to get this project out. Once we nail the vocalist down, we should be out within a couple months. Got a lot of good material, and excited to play it. Excited to get out there again. And,
now, how about with the whole music business? I mean, in technically the 10 years you've been going, 12 years, whatever it's been, a lot has changed.
Yeah. I mean, the music industry, you were talking about the shift in the early 90s. There's always shifts. So, you can still get a record deal. There's still record deals or independent deals and distribution. And when the time comes, right now I'm just working on the art, the product.
Right.
When the time comes, I'll shop it, and if whoever's interested in working with us, things will just happen. Agents, management, or record deals or whatever. We'll work towards that. But Yeah, I mean, the industry has changed, so a lot of it's like, you know, the music is more accessible and stuff, so you got to put it out and let fans hear it, and they'll judge whether it's worthy or not, right?
Right on. Right on.
You can't have any fear. You got to push forward. One other cool thing I noticed is all the vinyl that's been released lately. Vinyl has been making a comeback.
Absolutely.
And some company released the first 3 Static albums on vinyl. I think it's like musicalandvinyl.com over in Europe, and all of a sudden I see the first 3 Static albums, Wisconsin Death Trip, Machine, and Shadow Zone, all on vinyl. And even the Murderdolls album is on vinyl. Beautiful packaging. Some are gatefold opening, all kinds of. It's really good packaging, like colored vinyl and stuff. Pretty cool releases. So
it shocks me when I see, like, when I go in, like, you can go into, what the hell's the bookstore? Barnes and Nobles. You can go, like, in Barnes and Nobles now, and you're seeing, like, Black Sabbath albums and stuff like that on vinyl, and it just freaks my freaking mind out. But then it's even worse, though, when I look at the price, and they're charging like $30-$40 for an album now. I'm like, what the hell happened here?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I mean, vinyl, though, I mean, I have a couple friends that are vinyl collectors, and vinyl is it's weird. Like, you know, every time you put a needle on it, you're deteriorating the record. It's like, you know, it gets scratchier and scratchier every time you play it, but I guess, you know, it's just having having it there, having the artwork and having it in your hands. It's like, I don't even have a record player, but I collect the vinyl, you know?
Right.
It's just neat to have. I mean, I would do that even with cassettes, you know, if you're a collector, I'm a collector, dude. I'm just like Mr. Pack Rat. I collect. I don't want to sell anything, you know, it's crazy. I go to the auctions and thrift stores and, you know, comic stores and just all these conventions and stuff. I've been out, that's the other thing. I've been out to a lot of these conventions and running into people from back in the day, running into the guy who did the Static X comic, Brian Polito, from 2002, the Static X comic book on Chaos Comics, and he's still out making comic books. So,
wow.
It's just, I try to get out, man. I try to get out and just, you know, see people, and it's great. People have a lot of good memories, a lot of good, fond memories of different bands, and, you know, it's a lot of shared memories, you know, like we all have. So,
yeah, absolutely.
Teeze Roughhouse, Dope, Murderdolls, Static X, you know, there's a lot of good memories with all those bands, and I appreciate that. You can appreciate it, you know. So,
yeah, definitely.
But yeah, man, so I'm happy to be here. The other thing I'll hopefully launch later this year is TrippEisen.com, you know, a website that I'll put a lot of different, you know, content up and things for people to see, pictures from different eras, and maybe my concert pictures I took when I was younger of different bands. I would love to just show people, hey, look, here's me. I took pictures of Iron Maiden, the Ramones, Kiss, Judas Priest, Def Leppard back in the day when I was a kid, just to sneak a camera in, take tons of pictures, but especially the Teeze pictures, dude. I
want to see pictures of you in your self-made rags.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, it was a whole roll of film that I will eventually have to, you know, digitize. It's a whole roll of film of me in the rags. It's pretty crazy. And spinning my guitar, you know, with my BC Rich. But that's all kind of archive stuff. I love it. It's a lot of content, a lot of video content I have in my archives, and, you know, behind the scenes stuff that eventually I want to get all, you know, put the content up on the site, you know. So hopefully that'll be later this year, and people can come back and see a lot of stuff from different eras. It'd be a lot of fun, you know, a lot of fun. I got aspirations also to do. I mean, different things like reviews and maybe an interview show. I used to interview people for Metal Edge magazine, different bands and stuff, and I'd like to, you know, get into like the interview thing, like what you do, you know. So maybe that's another, you know, kind of project I might launch in the near future. So see what happens, you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but most of all, get the music out.
Get my music
out is the main thing. What's that?
There's so much stuff you can do now with the internet.
Yeah, it's definitely opened things up, and to get the music out there so people you put something up there and it's worldwide pretty much. Put stuff up there and people can get to you, from all points of the earth, fans from all over the place. So I'm looking forward to getting some material out there and seeing the product. So hopefully very soon, man, very soon.
Well, I'm going to tell you this too, because now since we world premiere new Madam X earlier in the show, when you're ready to premiere something, we got to world premiere it here, because that's my new thing now. I want everybody to come here to world premiere shit.
Yeah, well, yeah. Once we got some a couple of songs polished up or whatever, definitely we'll bring it to you. Definitely get it out there.
Now, here was something too with the whole Roughhouse Teeze thing. When you guys played back in September or whatever it was, it was funny. It was like time never, you know what I mean? Like, whatever it is, 20 or 30 years, whatever it scarily is right now. But all these years later, when you played those songs, you like had a lot of the same stage moves that you did 30 years ago.
Yeah.
I was like, did it just happen? Was it like just without skipping a beat? Did you automatically go back into those old moves?
Yeah, it's like riding a bike, right? Yeah, it's just kind of like, it comes back to you. I mean, there's so much. There's so much that is involved in performance that I'm the type of person I'll sit and look and analyze things. So yeah, some things come back to you. Some things you look at old footage, you're like, whoa, I forgot I did that. So I'm like, oh.
Right.
Well, I mean, but I did that even throughout the Static X days and Dope. I would pull things out. I'd watch tape, and it's kind of like sports, right? You gotta watch the tape, see what you did right, what you did wrong. It's like sports, Watch the tape. Oh, I can improve on that. Oh, that looks stupid. All right, let me improve on that. It's a sport, man, performance. But it's like, yeah, like the people that I idolize, like Prince. It's another big loss this year.
Yeah, I mean, that was a shocker for everybody. And I know back from years, we used to talk after the Empire shows about Prince a lot. I mean, that had to hit you hard.
Yeah, that was Prince was like a big influence back then. I would pull in a little Prince influence or play a little part of his songs live or something. But yeah, the loss. I mean, it's just sickening, dude. It's just sickening losing a life to some substance abuse or just whatever. I mean, God forbid he just got caught in a bad thing, like however he died in the elevator. It just it creeps you out to think, he was alone or something. It just, especially when you get addicted to something and you just can't get off of it and you're in this sick world. That I've never experienced that, man, but, you hear about it and you just feel such pity,
Yeah.
And he's such a great artist. To lose him, I mean, it's just like Michael Jackson was one thing, you'd see like people mourning Michael Jackson and everything. I've never been a big fan, but I was like, well, we still got Prince, and Prince will never go away, And now he's gone. It's just hard to believe. You take people for granted sometimes. Take people for granted, and then all of a sudden they're gone, and it makes you want to rediscover their music, and But I was trying to say different influences, and Kiss was another big thing. Like Kiss, all the stage antics and all the inspiration that they brought to my life, they're the reason I picked up the guitar. Kiss,
right.
Watch what they do. And Prince, similar to Kiss, it's not just about the music; it's about the performance and the amazing things that they do on stage. I mean, Prince and Paul Stanley both running across the stage in heels,
Right. Right. That's too funny.
Yeah, or David Lee Roth, Paul Stanley, all that pictures. Those things are inspiring to me. Like, you can step up your game and just watch what these guys do. Is there anybody doing stuff like that anymore?
No, there's not. It's very, very rare you see that anybody doing anything like that anymore.
Yeah, it's magical. I thought Lady Gaga is, she's an amazing performer. At the Super Bowl, and she's, exploring those things, doing acrobatics and stuff. So, I guess it's in a different realm, but it's still good to see performance and stuff. Just metal has not really done much. Metallica, there's not much metal blowing up. But hey, whatever size it is, small clubs or whatever, we all went out to see those bands back in the day. Slayer playing in Trenton.
Yeah, right.
City Gardens with Slayer.
City Gardens,
Overkill.
yeah.
A show like that changed my life. Overkill, Slayer at City Gardens. I'm like, whoa. And you don't realize what those things do to you. They stick with you.
Wow.
Manowar.
You were always the big Manowar fan. I never got into Manowar. That was one band I just couldn't get into.
Yeah, well, they were inspiring. Their lyrics, just the vibe is inspiring. Like the movie Conan the Barbarian. There's an inspirational, comeback and striving for greater things in life. All those things, being struck down and coming back. That's what Manowar is about. Standing up for things.
There are bands like now, like a lot of the bands that I couldn't get into back in the 80s, like somebody like a Grim Reaper or somebody like that, or Saxon, like bands I wouldn't even give it a time of day to back then. Like I hear them now and I'm like, man, I missed out on so much good stuff.
Yeah, you rediscover things, in retrospect. Getting more personal, since Wayne's passing, re-listening to his voice, re-listening to things, and I'm there in it. I was involved in it, and you rediscover things. You're like, wow, what was going on, and some of the things he did, and re-listening to some of the deeper tracks that we didn't even play live, and appreciating what was going on. I was there writing and performing it, but feeling another level, especially thinking about this. My friend is gone. He's gone,
right.
and hearing these things, it's just it re-inspires you, and just brings things around. And a lot of the songs in my new band are songs that were slated for another Static X album. So it is sort of the spirit of what was going on back then. Hopefully, will be in my new band. So I'm excited for that. But rediscovering things. Saxon, that's a band I saw them years ago, and I was like, they're cool, but I've been listening to them. Like you said, you rediscover things, and you're like, whoa, this is some good stuff, like Motorhead and some of those bands, even like Def Leppard, the first couple albums before they blew up.
Those albums are tremendous.
Yeah,
Them first three albums are just amazing. Even the first one.
Yeah, you go back and you're like, wow, what these bands are doing. The first Queensryche album, first couple Queensryche things they put out, just so it's a moment in time. It's hard to recapture it. Getting back to Teeze Roughhouse, the first Teeze album, you put that on, and the sound quality isn't the best, but there's just those songs, just because we were there, but there's something magical about it. There's something just magical comes out of those grooves. There's just something special about that. It'd be great. That's why to re-record that stuff, sometimes you might lose it, but I'd like to re-record stuff hi-fi, with way better sound quality and just punch it, and just it'd be great. Manowar re-recorded their first album. Some bands re-record their early albums, and it's interesting. Kiss did that for Sonic Boom. They put a full disc of re-records, right?
Right.
And I thought it was interesting. I can listen to that. I'm like, wow, it's cool. It's updated, but it doesn't take away from the original. It's just something different.
Yeah. I think
cool.
Especially the Roughhouse album, because I remember when that came out, I was so excited, and then I was like, oh, like you said, they took the punch out of it, and I was just like, oh man. But again, that's an album as time has gone on, I listen to it now, and I'm like, fuck, that's a good song. It's there. You know what I mean? It just needed that little kick in the ass a little bit, but it's there. And
yeah. Louis' voice shines on that. That's the best thing about the album. Louis' voice really shines on that. It's the sonic quality, the guitars maybe and stuff that needs to punch up. But it's a good album, good songwriting. Dave and Greg wrote the majority of that album. They're like Lennon and McCartney, right? know,
Right.
it's like they were like the songwriters. They wrote together a little bit, separate. You know, it's like it was good chemistry, and it was a moment in time. You know, there's a lot of good songs that never made it to the album that are demoed out that are available. You know, through people get them on bootlegs. And, they trickle around. The community, but yeah, it was a good run. You know, it formed me, and it was a lot of fun. So bringing it back. You know.
Yep, absolutely. Cool. So March 11th at the Block, Harrah's in Chester, Pennsylvania. We'll be seeing you and the boys taking the stage.
Yeah. Looking forward to seeing everybody out there. People who didn't make it out to the first show in October, and seeing some old friends and fans, and it's going to be a lot of fun playing those songs again, and just brings back a lot of good memories. So
yeah, absolutely,
a lot of fun. But
and
yeah,
then,
man. So
2 weeks. I don't know. Are you going to be calling in as well? I know the rest of the band's calling in on March 9th to promote the show.
Yeah, I'll join in on the fun, of course.
Cool. Very, very cool. You know what I got? See, I got more tapes too. I sent you over those couple tapes that I got. I got tapes. Now this is even before you, when they were like on. Remember the old metal shop on YSP?
Yeah. Yep.
I got like tapes of them in the studio there, and drinking the infamous Yukon Jack and stuff like that, and they're all screwed up.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I remember listening to. I mean, I barely got it in. I was way up at 2 hours north of Philly, but I remember listening in and hearing them. And I think I taped it too, but who knows where the tapes. I would love to hear those tapes, because it was like everybody's in the studio and they're all talking and playing songs and just freaking out. It was awesome. I would love to hear that stuff.
Yeah, I got to. I got it. I got to get it transferred. I got to transfer it over.
Yeah, that'd be great. But yeah, those days, man. That was think about days, man. It was a lot of fun. It was a moment in time. Teeze,
Yep. Absolutely.
Magical. I didn't bring in all your friends to see Teeze. Like, oh, you got to check this band out. You got to come with me, and bringing people, man. That's how I first got introduced to Teeze. Like, a bass player was like, you got to see this band Teeze, man, and he brought me into this club, and I was like hooked.
Yeah, it's. I mean, me and they played that show on the back of a flatbed truck with Keel at Second and Chestnut in Philly, and I was 15 at the time, and me and my two buddies, we took the bus down to Second and Chestnut, and we saw them, and our lives were changed. And then the next year or whatever it was, I started driving, and every time you guys played the Empire, every Sunday that you guys played, and we would load up my car. I'd have like 8 people squeezed into my car, and we would all go see you guys.
Wow. Yeah, it was a good run, man. We had a lot of fun. It's like playing all those shows, traveling out to York, doing overnight shows and stuff. It was special. But the Empire had a special vibe. There was just something special about that. And I think it was like October of '87 when I jumped up and I hung from the rafters the first time. Like, let me take a chance here, see what happens. That was a little scary, but.
And then it became like the thing you had to do every show was hanging upside down from the rafters.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, after when you do it once, you can't hey, you didn't do it this time. You had to do it every time after that. And I try to mix it up, go out in the middle of the crowd, go to this side, to that side. I do it from different spots and stuff, the back bar. And then I would start doing it at different clubs. There were some different clubs that had rafters. Like, ooh, this looks like more of a challenge, So that's why I respect Lady Gaga in the Super Bowl coming down from the ceiling, Woo! You gotta have butterflies, It doesn't matter how much you think you're like Gene Simmons, how he used to fly up to the top. It's like, doesn't matter how much, it's like that can always snap. You never know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Actually, I had something snap on me. We were filming the Cold video, Static X Cold video. We were dressed up like vampires and whatnot.
Uh-huh.
And I did a scene where I had to fly I flew from the ground up to the roof, and you actually have to film that backwards. So there's a crane with a harness, and they pulled me down, and I had to jump backwards off the roof of this building, of this house. And they were like, this crane can hold a car. And so I jumped down a couple times. They showed me how to do it. I jumped down, and then when they finally filmed it, I jumped, and the thing snapped off, and I fell on my ass. Luckily, I didn't fall. I mean, it was just part way down. I fell on my ass, and the whole crew was dead silent. Like, oh, Tripp's going to sue. Tripp's going to sue. You know? They said the thing can hold a car. Like, it's like, and it snaps with just me on it. But I got back up and did it again. So luckily, I wasn't injured too bad. But, yeah, like, this thing can hold a car, but yet it snapped. That's why I look at Lady Gaga or Gene Simmons, and I'm like, or I think Pink did stuff like that. It takes a lot of guts to go up high. David Lee Roth would do it, too. I mean, with all his climbing, I think the second tour, Roth did something where he came from the back and went up to the rafters and stuff. So, taking chances, you know, taking chances for your art.
Did you ever have any guitars, any guitar straps snap on you and go flying?
No, but we had a lot of guitar injuries, like my headstock snapping off. I spun around and hit like Dave's bass, and my headstock snapped off, and a lot of guitar injuries for sure. Heartbreaking guitar injuries, or tooth injuries. I think in Dope, I whipped my neck around. I hit AC in the mouth and chipped his tooth.
Oh,
that was pretty bad. And then similarly, I think on a Static X tour, Tony like spun around or just like moved his bass and hit Wayne right in the mouth and chipped his tooth right in half, front tooth right in half, right in the beginning of a tour. He had to fly back and get it repaired.
Oh,
crazy. So yeah, there's a lot of injuries. I forgot about, and I broke my foot on the first Dope tour, opened up for Orgy in Minneapolis. I broke my foot on stage, and I was in a cast on my first tour. I was so depressed, but yeah, the show goes on. I was like, little by little, I healed up while I was on stage. So yeah, forget about all those injuries. Breaking feet, breaking teeth off, you know. Jeez.
It's funny too because you were always the BC Rich guy. I have a guitar. I'm going to take a picture of and send it over to you. And being the fact that you're a Kiss fan, you're going to see this and you're going to freak the fuck out.
All right.
Because you'll appreciate it.
Cool. Yeah, man. I'm a big fan of guitars. I haven't gotten rid of hardly any of my guitars. I still have every freaking guitar pretty much, except for the ones that got stolen out on tour, a few of them. But I have just about every guitar that I ever played.
Oh, shit. I was going to say, like, those are the same ones from, like, back in the Roughhouse days, aren't they? The Warlock and the Bitch.
Yeah, Warlock and the Bitch. I sold my Eagle, but BC Rich gave me another Eagle, so I have an Eagle again. It's a different color. But, yeah, some of the pictures back in the day, I have this cream-colored Eagle, which I played because who played an Eagle? Paul Stanley. Remember Creatures of the Night? He had an Eagle with leopard print on it.
That's the picture of the guitar I was going to send you that I have.
Oh, really? That was the I Love It Loud video, probably.
Yep. I bought one on eBay. I bought this on eBay, like Christ, probably 15 years ago.
Wow.
It looks just like it. They put like the identical decals to make it just look like Stanley's. It's fucking awesome.
Wow. Yeah, that was cool.
When I was playing in my band, I used to play that mostly, and I had your Wave guitar. Those were my two main guitars I played a lot.
Oh, wow. The Wave. The reason I play the Wave is because of Tom Araya.
Yep.
The Wave. He was the only person I ever seen use a Wave. But Tom Araya with the Wave, Kerry King with the Warlock, and then Jeff Hanneman with the Bitch. That's the three guitars I played. It's all because of Slayer.
Yep.
That I got those shapes. Slayer.
That's funny.
Man. Yeah. BC Rich, man. Yeah, I'll never stop playing BC Rich.
Very, very cool.
Yeah, man.
Well,
so yeah.
It's funny. We've gone almost 90 minutes, and you kept saying for the last week, yeah, about 30 minutes will be cool, right?
Yeah, I don't want to overdo it, man.
Cool. Well, you know what? Let's we can wrap it up, and you know, I guess we did it. You know, we talked
cool, dude.
Talked a lot of stuff, and
yeah,
hopefully we can.
Cool. You know, it's cool to talk about stuff, and looking forward to the couple weeks. We'll do this again with the whole band, and right before the show. That'll be the 9th, right? I think Thursday.
Yes.
The 9th. Yeah, we'll do that. I'm sure those guys will have a lot of crazy stories and memories. Bring out.
See, that all right. That's what got to be my goal. I got to like dig that tape out and get it and break Dave and Louie's balls.
Yeah. Yeah, man, it's been great, dude. Yeah, we'll definitely keep in touch and
absolutely
send me those pictures and stuff, and you know, keep bringing up more stuff, and we'll do this again too sometimes. You know, soon once I get my band going, we'll do it again, and bring my band members on, and things going.
Sounds good.
Face without fear.
There you go. Remember, if anybody lead singers, vocalists, you know, you can just get hold of me, and I can pass on the info, and you never know. Maybe something beautiful music can be made.
That'd be great, dude. Yeah, appreciate it. And we got Dope coming up. Dope is coming up on tour. They're coming through the area next month, too.
Yeah. They're out there with Virus on guitar. Actually, what's his name? I saw he can't do the tour. AC's not doing the tour this time around.
I believe it's the lineup for the new album, Blood Money. Edsel's got a whole new lineup. Awesome guitar player, awesome lineup, awesome drummer. Yeah, definitely come out. It's good. The new album, Blood Money, is awesome, and they're coming out. They're coming around on tour. Yeah, they did a reunion tour last year, but this is like brand new Dope stuff. They'll be playing some of the old stuff, and they'll be playing one of my songs.
Nice.
It's maybe one or two. Yeah, the couple that I wrote with Dope. Die, MF, Die.
I was just going to say, Die, Motherfucker, Die.
Yeah, that's the one.
Them two albums are freaking amazing. People need to like go back and listen to that stuff.
Yeah, it was good times. Dope has survived through all this. Edsel's kept it together, and you know, never gave up. He's never really took a break. Took a break like releasing albums, but they played throughout all those years too. They've never stopped playing. So give them credit for perseverance, stamina.
How about when you hear your music being played in the first Fast and the Furious movie?
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Pretty awesome.
That's good stuff. Cool. All right. Well, dude, again, thank you so much for doing this, and you know.
Yep, it's been excellent, man. I appreciate everything, man. I'll definitely be in touch, man. Thanks so much.
Absolutely.
All right. Take care.
Thanks, dude. Have a good night, man. All right, there he goes. Tripp Eisen.